Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day.
All my life, I've been a loser. Bullied at school, beaten up by my parents, and now I live the life of a boring office worker. I thought it was my destiny. Days blend into weeks, and weeks into months, each more monotonous than the last. But recently, something entirely unexpected happened. It was a regular Friday night, and I was nursing a cheap beer at the local bar. The neon lights cast a sickly glow over the worn-out furniture and the usual crowd of tired faces. I was lost in thought when two stunning women walked in. They were like something out of a dream, identical twins, with long, flowing hair and eyes that sparkled with mischief. They made a beeline for me, and my heart raced. "Hey, aren't you Matt from the office?" one of them asked, her voice like honey. It took me a moment to recognize them. Stacy and Lizzie, the new hires in the marketing department. Yeah, that's me," I stammered, feeling a flush creep up my neck. "We thought so," Lizzie said, her smile dazzling. "Mind if we join you?" "Sure," I replied, trying to sound casual. We talked, and for the first time in ages, I felt interesting. They laughed at my jokes, leaned in close when they spoke, and made me feel like the center of the universe. As the night wore on, our conversation grew more flirtatious. "You know, Matt," Stacy said, her eyes locked on mine, "we've been wanting to get to know you better." "Yeah," Lizzie chimed in, "why don't we continue this at your place?" My heart pounded in my chest. Was this really happening? I nodded, almost in disbelief. When we arrived at my apartment, I nervously fumbled with my keys. They laughed and brushed off my awkwardness. Inside, I offered them drinks, trying to hide my shaking hands. "Whiskey okay?" I asked. "Perfect," they said in unison, giggling. We settled on the couch, drinks in hand. The twins sat on either side of me, their presence intoxicating. We toasted, and I took a long sip, feeling the warmth spread through my chest. "To new friends," Lizzie said, clinking her glass against mine. "To new experiences," Stacy added, her smile widening. We talked and laughed, but I started to feel dizzy. My vision blurred, and I struggled to keep my eyes open. Panic surged through me as I realized something was wrong. "What's happening?" I slurred, my head lolling to the side. "Shoo, just relax," Stacy whispered, her voice distant and echoing. I tried to stand, but my legs gave out. Darkness swallowed me whole. I wake up with a pounding headache, my mouth dry as cotton. The sunlight streams through the window, harsh and unforgiving. I groan and sit up, my brain feeling like it's been through a blender. Memories from last night flood back, and I freeze. Stacy and Lizzie. The drinks. The dizziness. I bolt upright and look around. My apartment is a disaster. Drawers pulled open, contents strewn across the floor. My wallet, phone, and laptop are gone. "No," I whisper, dread pooling in my stomach. I scramble to my feet, searching frantically. They took everything of value, my watch, the little cash I had, even my grandmother's necklace, the only family heirloom I owned. "Those bitches," I seethe, anger replacing my initial shock. I can't believe I fell for it. My whole life, I've been a punching bag, but this was the last straw. I clench my fists, my jaw tight. This isn't over. They think they can humiliate me and get away with it. They're wrong. I won't let them get away with it. Not this time. I grab my coat and head out the door, a new determination burning in my chest. To begin with, I need to find out where they live. The office directory might have their addresses. I smirk to myself, feeling a twisted sense of purpose. "Game on, ladies," I mutter under my breath. You messed with the wrong guy. The revenge plan is forming in my mind. It's time to turn the tables, to show them that I'm not just a loser, but someone they should never have crossed. My heart pounds as I enter the office on Monday morning. The usual hum of conversations and the clatter of keyboards feels different today, every sound heightened, every face scrutinizing. I can't shake off the anger and determination driving me forward. Today, I will start my revenge. I walk through the cubicles, nodding mechanically to my colleagues. The office directory is my first target. It's stored digitally on the company's internal network, accessible only from the HR department. I need to find a way to get in there without raising suspicion. "Hey, Matt." A voice calls out, breaking my focus. It's Jake, one of the IT guys. "You look like you had a rough weekend." "You have no idea," I mutter, forcing a smile. "Anything I can help with?" Jake asks, his curiosity piqued. "Actually, yes, I think, but hesitate." Jake is known for being a bit of a gossip. I need his skills, not his mouth. "Yeah, actually," I say, lowering my voice. "I need access to the HR directory. It's personal." Jake raises an eyebrow. "Personal, huh? What did you do, Matt?" "It's not like that. I just need to check something," I insist. "Please, Jake." "I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important." He eyes me for a moment, then sighs. "All right, I'll see what I can do. But you owe me one." "Absolutely," I agree, relief washing over me. Jake nods and heads off to his desk. I take a deep breath and make my way to my cubicle, glancing around for any sign of Stacy or Lizzie. But there's no sign of them. My mind races with possibilities. Did they plan this? Was it all just a game to them? An hour later, my computer pings with a message from Jake. "Check your inbox." I open the email and find an attachment. It's a list of employee addresses. I quickly scan for Stacy and Lizzie. There they are, same address. Of course, they live together. I write down the address and delete the email. My heart pounds as I plan my next move. At lunch, I slip out of the office and head to the address. It's in a nicer part of town, far from my dingy apartment. I loiter outside, casing the building. It's a small, upscale apartment complex with secure entry. There's no way I'm getting in without a plan. A woman in a delivery uniform approaches the door, carrying a stack of packages. Inspiration strikes. "Excuse me," I say, walking up to her. "I forgot my keycard. Can you let me in?" She looks at me skeptically, but then shrugs. "Sure, just be quick." I follow her inside and take the stairs to the second floor. Stacy and Lizzie's apartment is at the end of the hall. I stand outside the door, my mind racing. I need to find a way to get inside. Just then, the door to the apartment next to theirs opens. A tall, muscular guy steps out. He looks at me with suspicion. "Who are you?" he demands. I'm Matt," I stammer. "I'm here to see Stacy and Lizzie." "They're not home," he says, narrowing his eyes. "And you shouldn't be here." "I'm just a friend," I insist. "I left something at their place. Can you let me in?" He crosses his arms, clearly not buying it. "I'll tell them you were here. Now leave." Frustrated, I walk away, but not before noticing the door to their apartment is slightly ajar. As the guy heads back into his own apartment, I slip back and push the door open. Inside, the place is neat and stylish, a stark contrast to my own. I quickly search the living room, but there's no sign of my stolen belongings. I hear voices from down the hall and freeze. The bathroom door is slightly open, and I slip inside, hiding behind the shower curtain. Stacy and Lizzie enter the apartment, laughing. My heart races. I listen intently. I still can't believe he fell for it, Stacy says, her voice dripping with amusement. Poor Matt, Lizzie replies. He was so easy. Fury boils inside me, but I stay hidden. They walk past the bathroom, and I hear them enter the bedroom. I need to act fast. I slip out of the bathroom and quietly open the front door, then step out and close it behind me, making sure it doesn't click loudly. Breathing heavily, I rush down the stairs and out of the building. I need a new plan, and I need help. Someone who knows how to handle this kind of situation. I think of Jake. He's good with tech, but I need someone with a different set of skills. I remember an old friend from high school, Mike, who had a knack for getting things done, no matter how shady. I pull out my phone and scroll through my contacts, finding Mike's number. I hesitate for a moment, then hit call. Hey, Mike. It's Matt. I need your help, I say when he answers. Matt? Long time no see. What's going on? Mike's voice is wary but curious. It's a long story. Can we meet up? Sure. Usual place. Yeah. See you in an hour. I hang up and head to the old bar where Mike and I used to hang out. I need to explain everything to him and hope he can help me get my revenge on Stacy and Lizzie. This isn't over, not by a long shot. The bar where Mike and I used to hang out hasn't changed much in the years since high school. The same creaky stools line the bar, and the same grizzled bartender nods in recognition as I walk in. The smell of stale beer and cigarettes is as familiar as ever. I take a seat at a corner table, nervously tapping my fingers on the scarred wood surface. Mike arrives a few minutes later, looking rough around the edges but still carrying the air of confidence that always set him apart. His piercing blue eyes scan the room before locking onto me. Matt, you look like you've been through hell, he says, sliding into the seat across from me. You have no idea, I reply, giving him a weak smile. Mike waves to the bartender, ordering 2 beers. Once they arrive, he takes a long swig and leans back. So, what's this about? I take a deep breath and launch into the story. I tell him about Stacy and Lizzie, the drinks, the theft, and my determination to get back at them. As I speak, Mike's expression shifts from curiosity to something darker, more calculating. Man, that's messed up, he says when I finish. But you can't just go in there guns blazing. You need a plan. I know, I admit. That's why I called you. I need your help. Mike scratches his chin, thinking. All right, here's what we do. First, we need to gather information. Find out their routines, who they hang out with, their weaknesses. Then, we can figure out how to hit them where it hurts. I nod, feeling a mix of relief and anticipation. How do we start? Leave that to me, Mike says, a confident grin spreading across his face. I'll dig into their backgrounds. You keep an eye on them at work. We need to know everything. Over the next few days, I follow Mike's instructions. At the office, I watch Stacy and Lizzie closely, taking note of their schedules and interactions. They seem oblivious to my scrutiny, laughing and chatting with colleagues as if nothing happened. It fuels my resolve. Mike works his magic behind the scenes. He's always had a knack for finding things out, and it isn't long before he comes through with valuable intel. We meet again at the bar to discuss our findings. Mike spreads out a series of photographs and notes on the table between us. Here, he says, pointing to a picture of Stacy entering a gym. She goes here every Tuesday and Thursday night. And Lizzie, he flips to another photo, takes a yoga class on Wednesdays. They also have a few friends they hang out with regularly. These two, he points to 2 guys in one of the pictures, seem pretty close to them. I study the photos and notes, feeling a surge of determination. What's the plan? We start by isolating them, Mike says. Get them alone and vulnerable. Then we make our move. How do we do that? Mike leans in, his voice low. We set a trap. Make them think they're safe, then strike. But first, we need leverage. Something they care about. A plan starts to form in my mind, and I share it with Mike. He nods approvingly. Good. We'll need to be careful, though. One wrong move and this could backfire. I'm ready, I say, my voice steady. They need to pay for what they did. Over the next week, we put our plan into action. I create a fake social media profile, posing as a new, wealthy client interested in their marketing services. Using the information Mike gathered, I make sure the profile looks legitimate and enticing. Stacy bites almost immediately. She sets up a meeting at an upscale cafe, and I arrange for Mike to be there, posing as my assistant. The night before the meeting, we go over our plan one last time. Remember, Mike says, stick to the script. We need to get her talking about her personal life. The more she reveals, the better. The next day, I arrive at the cafe, nerves buzzing. Stacy is already there, looking polished and professional. She smiles as I approach, but there's a glint in her eye that makes my skin crawl. Mr. Stevens, it's a pleasure to meet you, she says, extending her hand. Likewise, Miss Harper, I reply, shaking her hand firmly. We sit down, and I start the conversation, steering it towards business at first. Mike joins us a few minutes later, introducing himself as my assistant, Mark. Stacy seems intrigued by the potential deal, and her guard drops slightly as we talk. I must say, your company has an impressive track record, she says, leaning forward. What made you decide to reach out to us? Well, I say, feigning nonchalance, I've heard great things about your work. Plus, I have a personal connection to someone in your office. Her eyes narrow slightly. Oh? Who might that be? Matt, I say, watching her reaction closely. We went to school together. Stacy's expression flickers, but she quickly recovers. Matt? Really? How is he doing? He's doing all right, I reply, keeping my tone light. He mentioned your company, and I thought it was worth exploring. The conversation shifts back to business, but I can tell Stacy is intrigued. As we wrap up the meeting, I suggest we continue the discussion over dinner. She agrees, and we set a time and place. That evening, I meet Mike at the designated restaurant. We've reserved a private room, ensuring we won't be disturbed. When Stacy arrives, she seems even more intrigued by the exclusivity. As dinner progresses, I steer the conversation towards more personal topics. Stacy, fueled by the wine and the promise of a lucrative deal, starts to open up. She talks about her sister, their plans, and even hints at past misdeeds. So, what do you do for fun? I ask casually, pouring her another glass of wine. Oh, you know, the usual, she says, waving her hand dismissively. Parties, travel, the occasional prank. Prank? Mike interjects, raising an eyebrow. Do tell. Stacy laughs, a sound that grates on my nerves. Well, my sister and I have this game we play. It's harmless, really. Just messing with people who deserve it. Like who? I ask, leaning in. Just, people, she says, her eyes sparkling with mischief. You wouldn't believe some of the things we've done. I force a laugh, but inside, I'm seething. This is exactly what I needed. As dinner ends, I thank Stacy for her time and promise to be in touch. She leaves, clearly pleased with how the evening went. Mike and I stay behind, reviewing our progress. She's playing right into our hands, Mike says, a satisfied grin on his face. Yeah, I reply, feeling a mix of anticipation and anger. But this is just the beginning. We need to go deeper. Mike nods. Agreed. We'll keep up the pressure. Next, we target Lizzie. Over the next few days, we follow a similar strategy with Lizzie. Using the fake profile, I arrange a meeting and slowly draw her into our trap. She's more cautious than Stacy, but eventually, she too starts to reveal her true nature. As we gather more information, our plan solidifies. We're ready to make our move. One evening, Mike and I sit in my apartment, finalizing the details. "Tomorrow's the day," Mike says, a steely determination in his voice. I nod, my heart pounding. "Let's do this." We set everything in motion, carefully orchestrating each step. Stacy and Lizzie won't know what hit them. This is it, the moment I've been waiting for. As I lie in bed that night, I think about everything that's led to this point. All the pain, the humiliation, it's all about to end. Tomorrow, I'll take back control. Tomorrow, I'll make them pay. The day of our plan dawns bright and clear, a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. Mike and I have set everything in motion. All that's left is to see it through. I take a deep breath and head to the office, the weight of anticipation pressing down on me. At the office, I catch sight of Stacy and Lizzie, oblivious to what's coming. They laugh and chat, completely unaware that their carefully constructed facade is about to crumble. Mike is already in position, keeping an eye on them from a distance. We've planned everything meticulously. At lunchtime, I approach Stacy with a smile. "Hey, Stacy. Do you have a minute?" She glances at me, surprised. "Sure, Matt. What's up?" "I was wondering if you could help me with something. It's for a project I'm working on, and I could really use your expertise," I say, trying to sound as sincere as possible. "Of course," she replies, standing up. "Lead the way." I lead her to a small conference room, where Mike is already waiting. Stacy's eyes flicker with recognition, but she doesn't suspect anything yet. We sit down, and I start the conversation casually, easing into the topic. "So, Stacy," I say, leaning forward, "I've been thinking a lot about our last conversation. About those pranks you and Lizzie play." Stacy's smile falters slightly. "Oh, that. Just harmless fun, really." "Harmless?" Mike interjects, raising an eyebrow. "You call drugging someone and robbing them harmless?" Stacy's eyes widen in shock, and she tries to stand up. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sit down," I say, my voice cold. "We know everything, Stacy. And we have proof." Her face pales as I pull out my phone and play the recording we made during our dinner. Her own voice fills the room, boasting about their pranks and misdeeds. Stacy's hands tremble, and she slumps back into the chair. "Why are you doing this?" she whispers, fear evident in her eyes. "Because you crossed the line," I say, leaning closer. "You thought you could get away with everything, but you were wrong." Mike stands up, pacing around the room. "Here's what's going to happen. You and Lizzie are going to return everything you stole from Matt. And then, you're going to confess to the police." Stacy's eyes dart around, looking for an escape. "You can't be serious. We'll go to jail." "That's the idea," I reply, my voice unwavering. There's a knock on the door, and Lizzie walks in, looking confused. "What's going on here?" "Sit down, Lizzie," Mike says, his tone brooking no argument. Lizzie hesitates, but the look on Stacy's face tells her something is terribly wrong. She sits down, and I replay the recording for her. Her reaction is much the same as Stacy's: shock, fear, and then a desperate attempt to deny everything. "This is insane," Lizzie says, her voice shaking. "You have no proof." "Actually, we do," I say, pulling out my laptop. I show them the footage we obtained from a hidden camera in my apartment. It clearly shows them rummaging through my belongings, taking my valuables. Stacy and Lizzie exchange a look, panic setting in. "What do you want from us?" Stacy asks, her voice barely above a whisper. "I already told you," I reply. "Return everything and confess." They look at each other, defeated. "Fine," Lizzie says, her voice trembling. "We'll do it." Mike and I escort them out of the office, making sure no one notices. We drive to my apartment, where they return the stolen items. Then, we head to the police station. As they confess, a strange sense of satisfaction washes over me. For the first time in my life, I'm in control. I've taken back my power. But as we leave the station, I can't shake the feeling that something's off. Later that evening, Mike and I meet up at the bar to celebrate. "We did it," he says, clinking his glass against mine. "Yeah," I reply, taking a sip of my drink. "But something doesn't feel right." "What do you mean?" Mike asks, his brow furrowing. "I don't know," I say, shaking my head. "It's just a feeling." As the night wears on, the feeling of unease grows. I decide to call it a night and head home. But as I approach my apartment, I notice the door is ajar. My heart races as I step inside, ready for anything. The apartment is dark and silent. I flip on the light, and my blood runs cold. Everything is gone. Every single item, down to the bare walls. It's as if I've been robbed again. "No," I whisper, my voice echoing in the empty room. "This can't be happening." In a panic, I call Mike. "Mike, they did it again. They took everything." "What?" he exclaims. "How?" "I don't know," I say, my voice shaking. "But they got me." As I hang up, I notice a note on the floor. I pick it up, my hands trembling. "Dear Matt. Did you really think it would be that easy? You played your part well, but we're always one step ahead. Enjoy your empty apartment. Love, Stacy and Lizzie." Anger and despair wash over me in equal measure. They played me again. But this time, it's different. This time, I know I won't let them win. I spend the next few days planning my next move. I reach out to contacts, gathering more information on Stacy and Lizzie. I find out that they have a storage unit where they keep their ill-gotten gains. It's heavily guarded, but with Mike's help, I devise a plan to break in. The night of the heist, Mike and I sneak into the storage facility. We disable the security cameras and make our way to the unit. Inside, we find not only my belongings but also countless other stolen items. "We did it," Mike says, grinning. "Not yet," I reply, my eyes fixed on a small safe in the corner. "We need to open that." Mike works his magic, and the safe clicks open. Inside, we find a stash of cash, fake IDs, and a notebook detailing all their schemes. This is the final piece of the puzzle. With the evidence in hand, we go back to the police. This time, there's no way Stacy and Lizzie can escape justice. They're arrested and charged with multiple counts of theft and fraud. As I watch them being led away in handcuffs, a sense of closure washes over me. It's finally over. Back at the bar, Mike and I toast to our victory. "Here's to new beginnings," he says, raising his glass. "To new beginnings," I echo, clinking my glass against his. For the first time in my life, I feel like a winner. And this time, it's not because of luck or chance. It's because I fought back and won. And as I look towards the future, I know that I'll never let anyone take advantage of me again.